Alright, hey everyone, so our next project in here, what we're going to be doing is a collage. We're going to use a feature in Photoshop called the Photomerge, where you can take several photos and you can stitch them together seamlessly to make one photo. Now, I'm standing up here on this lake, and I've got this mountain view here. I could take, one picture, maybe two, or I could use the iPhone's feature where I can do a panorama and do one single sliver of pictures going all the way across. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a series of photos and we're going to go 180 degrees left to right, and we're also going to go up and down a little bit to take these photos. So what I mean by that is I'm going to do this like I'd be reading a book. I'm going to start up here in the air and I'm going to take a photo, but I'm going to look at the side of the picture here where the word video is on my camera to see where that photo ends. So I'm going to take, actually I'm going to go even further over, and I can see that little notch in the mountain there. I'm going to take one photo, and I can notice that that dock is at the bottom of my picture frame. So now I'm going to move over, and I'm going to overlap those pictures a little bit. See, that notch is now on the left side of my picture. I'm going to take that, and then I noticed that right about here is where the next picture was, and you can see those hills in the background on the right side. I'm going to move them all the way over to the left side, take that picture. Now I'm going to move down a little bit, and I'm going to work my way back so I can see that the halfway up that dock there is where my picture is on the left. I'm going to go over, take that picture there. I can see sort of a white house in the distance there. Okay, I'm going to do that, and then I can see that notch again on the mountains down there again, and I'm going to take that picture as well. Then I'm going to move down. I can kind of see the bottom of that dock that is in the distance. I'm going to move down, and I'm really going to go down to the ground here, and I'm going to take a couple pictures just sort of in a semicircle here to do that. Okay, like so. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these photos into my computer, and I'm going to use the Photomerge feature in Photoshop to stitch them together. Okay, so the first thing I did here was I airdropped all those pictures I just took onto my computer. And when I say accept, they'll just end up in the downloads folder. You guys should know how to airdrop by now. When I get to Photoshop, I want to go to the File menu, and I want to go down to Automate. And at the bottom of the Automate menu, you'll see Photomerge. This is Photoshop's feature for adding things together in a new document. And you can see all these features down the side: auto, perspective, cylindrical, spherical, collage, reposition. There's also options in the middle here, vignette removal, and all these other things. And we're going to try a bunch of these different features. But for now, I'm just going to keep it on auto and blend images together. And when I click it, you'll see I go to my downloads folder, and there's all those photos. I can select them all at once that I just took. Make sure I get them all. Okay, and then once you get them all selected, I'm holding down the Shift key there. I click Open, and you'll see them show up in the list here. Then you click OK, and now this takes a while. I actually fast-forwarded the video here coming up because you can see it's scanning all these photos over there in the Layers menu, and then once it scans all the photos, it's going to look for similar pixels, and it's going to try to stitch those photos together into one nice collage. So it'll make a new document. Again, now it's trying to stitch them all together. It's going to use layer masks to mask out the edges of the pictures and kind of make them work together seamlessly. So once this is done, again, this is fast forward because the pictures are huge. So there it is. You can see there was one photo in that bottom left-hand corner that didn't quite fit in with the plan. So I'm just going to go to the crop tool, and I'm just going to crop that out of the image just because we don't really need it right there. Okay, hit return. There's my image. Now, it looks great. The only problem is iPhone images are pretty big, and when you combine them all together, it makes for a huge document, 203 inches wide. That's way too big to save or put on Google. So I'm going to change it to 15 inches wide, but I'm going to up the resolution to about 300. So if I ever need to print it, it'll look good. Okay, click OK, and then you'll see Photoshop. Again, this is fast forwarded a little bit. We'll render the image down to a smaller size. It'll look really small when it first gets done here, but it's not. It's just showing it at a lesser percent of its actual size. So there it is. I double-click the hand tool over on the toolbar here, okay, and you'll see it'll pop back to its size there. And there it is. And if you look at all these layer masks and stuff, you can see all these layers are there. They just masked out little bits of it so that it all kind of like fit together. It's pretty cool, actually, when you consider what it does to make this picture. And there's a lot of things we can do from here, but I'm just going to save it right now. I'm going to first save it as a Photoshop file. I'll put a name on it that I think is, good collage Carter works for me. And I'm going to save it as a Photoshop file, and I'm going to go into, I'm going to go over here into my Documents folder and click Save. Just so I have all the layers and the layer masks, I'm just going to keep it there, save it like that. Then to submit it, what I'd like to do is I like to go back to the File menu, go down to Save As again, and this time I'm going to save it in the same folder, but I'm going to change this to the very first JPEG option. Remember, we always want to turn in JPEGs, not PSDs, not Photoshops, and ignore the text from my wife. So I click Save, I click OK, and that will save into it, and there you go. That's the final product. Pretty cool. We'll look at some other things we can do with this as well in the future.